Joe Rogan defending Dave Chappelle against Patton Oswalt. So here's one thing I will say. Okay, as much as I hate what has become of Dave Chappelle, a person who I admired and loved and thought was incredibly funny, okay, for a very long time in my life, who now just makes like really just awful content for the most part, and he's just an old angry boomer who can't fucking let go of the change that he is experiencing around himself, okay? And it's fucking comedy cancer, and you guys are not going to agree with me. I don't give a shit. I literally saw him live recently, okay? I saw him live recently, and he could not shut the fuck up about the fucking school that he went back to, his own personal school that he went back to, and how much the Zoomers like despised him. It's just, he's old, bro. That's just it. It sucks. No, this was like months ago. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Obviously, his new content is not going to be great because he just finished his special. I could go some seriously problematic Patton Oswalt bits. Yeah, no shit, bro. They're comedians. What the fuck is wrong with you? Shut the fuck up. Go ahead, bro. Go cancel Patton Oswalt, dumbass. Listen. Comedians do cultural critique, okay? And cultural analysis. Some of those old bits are not going to fucking work with your understanding of the world today. You aren't the same person that you were compared to 2 years ago. So why the fuck do you expect other people, especially in the media, to have a different fucking, to be different than that? Because your brain is broken by capitalism, okay? So you think humans are supposed to be fucking brands. And brands themselves are not even real or ethical in any meaningful capacity, okay? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. It's so annoying. I just like hate the comedy policing, but the only thing I hate more than the comedy policing is bad comedy as a consequence of people crying about comedy policing. Okay? It's like life fucking sucks. Okay? It's shitty. Everyone's got their own shit that they're worried about. And these guys look at how shitty life is and make light of it, okay? And sometimes they make you laugh. And that's huge, okay? That is really, really important. So it is incredibly fucking annoying when people are, when these people who are supposed to make you laugh and offer like good feedback, decent fucking cultural analysis, and like talk about how silly life is, turn around and fucking make garbage comedy. Aren't you No, I'm not comedy policing Dave Chappelle. Shut the fuck up. A criticism for a person that I personally loved growing up and still, to some degree, can't let go of, okay, does not mean I'm policing his comedy. You fucking brain-dead troglodytes, okay? Shut the fuck up. You sound exactly like the dumbass liberals you fucking despise, okay? Are you saying you're not offering fealty and unconditional loyalty to comedian man that made bad joke? Well, you must hate all comedy. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. You are what I'm talking about. You are no different than the fucking soy-facing bugmen that love purchasing Funko Pops and freaking the fuck out whenever there's a new Marvel movie. You are fucking cancer for comedy because you don't want to laugh. You just want to do this. You just want to fucking clap when the comedian man says something that you agree with, and then maybe out there somewhere, there's a fucking blue-haired SJW because you're stuck in fucking 2016. There's a blue-haired SJW that's going to be really frustrated. Shut the fuck up. Saying that Dave Chappelle's fucking new bits are just old boomer, old man yells at cloud is not comedy policing. Okay? Shut up. He'll be fine. He's gonna fucking survive. Okay? Jesus Christ. I despise you fucking annoying, uncritical dickheads. Okay? You think you're edgy. You think you're different than the liberals. You're not. Okay? You're not. You are the same fucking idiot. Okay? You crying about other people saying Dave Chappelle's last special wasn't that good are exactly the same as the fucking people who were like, you didn't like Zack Snyder's cut? Like, fuck you. You should kill yourself. It was the greatest masterpiece I've ever seen. There's nothing different between your attitude and their attitude, okay? Anyway. Fuck. These people have South Park takes? Yeah, 100%. It's like, fucking shut up, dude. Shut up. So, as I was saying, Dave Chappelle's last shit is mid. Not even mid. It just sucks. It's old. It's resentful. I've heard it from Greg Gutfeld, okay? If you're doing Steven Crowder bits, you're no longer a fucking incredible comedian, okay? It's just the reality. He's in an extended stun lock about trans people existing, and in his mind, he thinks like trans people have been able to elevate themselves above black people, okay? In the marginalized, in the ladder of people who are marginalized. I'm using terminology that is not actually arriving at the heart of the matter. He actually has a new bit, though, that is very good, that addresses his perspective perfectly. But everything surrounding that fucking bit that you guys are unaware of, by the way, okay, because you haven't listened to his new shit yet in his post-comedy special, he talks about James Baldwin, okay? And once that fucking bit is refined, it's going to be perfect. And it will help you understand a little bit his point of view. But everything around that literally is still dog shit, dude. Everything around that is dog shit. It's not, there's no leaking it. I didn't fucking film it. And I would never do that anyway. In his mind, black LGBTQ does not exist. Okay, that's literally, quite literally not true. He talks about that as well. But if you are so horny if you're so used to being admired by everyone around you and hold yourself to that standard, and then the moment people are just like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Like, chill out with this shit. Okay? Then you don't react to that in like oh no, Hasan thinks Dave is dog shit now. What are we ever gonna do? I mean, you don't have to do anything. You literally can, you know, you can do whatever the fuck you want with your life. Like, why are you so triggered? Like, it's not like I'm like, oh my God, I went and saw Dave Chappelle after his comedy special. Like I'm not saying that like Dave Chappelle should be locked up, jailed, or even have his fucking Netflix special removed. Like, shut the fuck up. Okay? You watched one fucking Dave Chappelle special for the first time in your life because you're a Zoomer. You're a pathetic little fucking dweeb Zoomer who's never even seen his earlier work. And it triggered the fucking libs in your mind. So now you think he's hilarious, okay? You haven't even seen his best shit. And you're over here talking to me, someone who grew up with Dave Chappelle, who loves Dave Chappelle's comedy, who fucking has seen him live a million times, who has met him, and you're telling me that like I have less of a fucking stake in this because you are unconditionally getting the slop fed to you and going, please, sir, I want some more. Shut the fuck up. Like, you can't come in here and fucking tell me about my why are you supporting a turf? Because I love transphobia, dude. That's why, okay? I'm such a fucking fan secretly. Shut the fuck up, idiot. Why are you supporting a turf? I also provide some level of cultural analysis, okay? I'm going to go and fucking see Dave Chappelle to see if he's attitude has changed, if he's like fully moved on like he said he was going to in the end of his stand-up special, or if he's still getting drunk and fucking constantly railing on about trans people and how the LGBT CIA controls Hollywood and that you can't say anything about the fucking alphabet people because they'll lose their fucking minds. Okay? And yes, unfortunately, it's still on that. That's what he's talking about still. Non-fucking stop. Anyway. Nuance such a problem with members of this community? It's a problem everywhere. It's not just here, dude, okay? It's a problem everywhere. It's annoying. I speak uninterrupted for 10 hours a day. If you still can't comprehend what the fuck I'm saying, that's kind of a you problem at that point. So, I've not seen the new Louis special, but I would like to for sure. I bet the LGB hate being lumped with the T. What? Dude, shut the fuck up. What do you mean I hate the hate being lumped with the T? You're just like, I'm a homosexual who fucking hates trans people? Is that what you're saying in here right now? What kind of weird shit is this? Bro, there is no fucking anti-trans bullshit, okay? That doesn't fly here at all, okay? Anyway. So, what I was trying to say is he's too fucking caught in that feedback loop. And this gets a lot of people, especially people in media, obviously. Okay? A lot of people in media get caught up in that fucking feedback loop, and they either are they have moral convictions that they stand by, or when they get that fucking pushback, they decide to shelter in and get into their bunker and go, fuck these people that are shitting on me. They don't understand it. Fuck them. Okay? So, ultimately, what I'm trying to say is it's incredibly fucking cancerous for people to be caught up, for comedians, especially comedians like Dave Chappelle, to be caught up in the situation where they end up doing Steve Crowder type bits, okay? Trolling is the lowest bar of comedy, is the lowest, like the absolute lowest, bottom of the fucking barrel, low hanging fruit of comedy. Oh, what I'm doing is supposed to be funny because you're annoyed by it, or certain groups that we all hate are annoyed by it. You know what I mean? That just sucks. It's not funny at all. There's no insightful analysis there. There's nothing there. And he can't stop fucking trolling the LGBT community, okay? Great. Keep owning the libs, brother. You're doing a fucking great job. It just sucks that your comedy suffers as a consequence of that, okay? Are you saying that Dave can't think for himself? Dave Chappelle for president 2024. Dave Chappelle is a leader of the progressives. Twitter activists are just fascists, just like Joe Rogan and Fox News. What? Trust me, I'm always right. Dave Chappelle, dude, are you having an aneurysm? Here, take fucking week off, dude. Come back later. Anyway. Let's see. So what ended up happening is Patton Oswalt is recording, I think, or doing a stand-up. He's doing stand-up next door from Dave Chappelle doing stand-up, okay? So Dave says, hey, you know, come make an appearance on my stand-up show as well. Patton Oswalt says yes. the liberals on Twitter fucking lose their minds over this and say, fuck you, you're supporting a transphobic person, you're a piece of shit. And then Patton Oswalt takes a photo of himself, like pondering deeply while writing on that yellow legal paper his apology note, okay? Which is the wackest fucking thing you can do. It's like, it's so incredibly cringe, dude. Okay? It's like, I think that is absolutely fucking worse than just like, I think that's worse than just coming out and be like, no, I fucking love Dave Chappelle. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Straight up. Like, why? What are you doing? You're issuing an apology? What the fuck? So he wrote this post. He said, finished my set at McCaw Hall and got a text from Dave Chappelle. Come over to the arena he's performing in next door and do a guest set. Why not? By the way, he did a fucking horrible job writing this. Jesus Christ, dude. Okay? Why not? I waved goodbye to this hellier with a genius I started comedy with 34 years ago. He works in an arena like he's talking to one person and charming their skin off. Anyway, I ended the year with a real friend and a deep laugh. Can't ask for much more. Wait, this isn't the one. Hold on. Where's the fucking apology letter that he wrote? What a meme. Oh, here it is. Bro, look at this. By the way, M. Hud with the correct analysis earlier. I caught that in the chat. Michael said, taking a photo of yourself writing your apology is an incredibly misgift move, and that is true. Okay? This is some shit misgift would do, okay? Like creating content out of your cancellation or whatever the fuck. So Patton Oswalt, side by side with this photo, makes it so much funnier. I saw a friend I hadn't seen in a long time this New Year's Eve. We've known each other since we were teens. He's a fellow comedian and the funniest I've ever met. Wanted to post a pic and an IG story about us, so I did. The friend is Dave Chappelle. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. I gotta score this. You know what I'm saying? I gotta score this, boys. 34 years we've been friends. He's refocused and refined ideas a lot of us took as settled about race and history and life on planet Earth and spun them around with a phrase or punchline. We've done bad and good gigs, open mics and TV tapings, but we also 100% disagree about transgender rights and representation. I support trans people's rights, anyone's rights to live safely in the world as their fullest selves. For all the things he's helped me evolve on, I'll always disagree with where he stands. Now on transgender issues. I'll always disagree with where he stands now on transgender issues. But I also don't believe he's a seeker like him. Is done evolving, learning. God, I can't even fucking read this, dude. My ADHD's killing me. I'm like skipping sentences. Where is it? Seeking? Where the fuck? Hold on. I totally butchered the reading of this shit. It's so bad. I'm reading like a 5th grader for sure. But I also don't believe a seeker like him is done evolving, learning. You know someone that long, see the struggles and changes, it's impossible to cut them off. Impossible not to be hopeful and open and cheer them on. For the record, I do see this. I do understand this. Obviously, I don't fucking know Dave Chappelle like that. But because of my parasocial relationship with Dave Chappelle from consuming his content, especially at an early age, especially early on, and how I consider him to be profoundly important for my upbringing, development, whatever, it is. I totally understand why someone would want that person to, get better and like learn more and like change their fucking point of view. I just don't think it's going to happen with Dave Chappelle. Let's be real on this issue, especially. Genuinely, I think shit like this is a side effect of stupid, egotistical people being in the public eye. Suddenly you feel the need to display your personal growth publicly instead of process things yourself. This is the boomer version of crying on TikTok, for the record. Patton went on Legion of Skanks, and yet had to apologize for taking a photo with Dave Chappelle. Yeah, that is wild. Anyway. Impossible not to be hopeful and open and cheer them on. Also, I've been carrying a lot of guilt about friends I've cut off who had views with which I couldn't agree or changed in ways I couldn't live with. Sometimes I wonder, did I and others cutting them off make them dig their heels in deeper, fuel their ignorance with a nitro boost of resentment and spite? I'm an LGBTQ ally. I'm a loyal friend. There's a friction in those traits that I need to reconcile myself and not let because it feels a betrayal in anyone else. And I'm sorry, truly sorry, that I didn't consider the hurt this would cause or the depth of that hurt. I've been messaging a lot on IG today, and the back and forth has really helped guide me in writing this. I naively deleted a lot of posts in the comment thread, critical ones from LGBTQ writers, and shit posts by TERF anti-trans orcs looking for clicks and giggles. I wanted a nice comment thread about the pic with my friend. Ugh, so easy to think someone else needs growth and miss the need in yourself. Gonna keep trying. What the fuck? Bro, you should have just not posted any of this, okay? This is way more cringe, dude. Just be funny, guys. Seriously, just like the worst thing you can ever do, because the difference between something that is like incredibly bigoted and a fucking very difficult to pull off, but a fire joke, is whether or not you were able to execute it and it was clever enough and you're a good enough comedian. Okay? Context is everything. So the worst thing you can ever do as a comedian is just stop being funny. Okay? I'm just saying you could do better. Tell me, have you heard that? Bro, this is some Drake shit. This is some shit Drake would do. Would you speak to Dave if he came up to you right now? Why wouldn't I? What a fucking insane question is that? That's so dumb. My fucking anger, my anger, or rather like my disappointment, which is insignificant in the grand scheme of things, is Dave fucking Chappelle. Okay? My albeit insignificant, but I guess somewhat significant disappointment revolves around Dave's inability to fucking let go and how much that impacts his like comedy, which I think is supposed to be the best. Okay? That's it. It's just so stupid. It's cringe, but is he trying to be real and take people seriously, right? Don't understand why this deserves ridicule. Him having these feelings and internalizing them or thinking about them is not what deserves ridicule. A lot of people have these complicated processes that they go through. Him posting a photo of himself like half crying while writing this note and posting it on his Instagram, that's what's fucking stupid. How do you not see that? And for the record, it's complicated to talk about different marginalized groups because people's automatic assumption is that like you're comparing their struggle, or you're comparing their current contemporary oppression, you're comparing their historical oppression, blah 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 blah. Okay? That's not the case in this circumstance. The point is, though, that anyone who was, of course, trans people have not gone through trans people have not gone through, by the virtue of being trans, the same thing that black people have gone through in the form of chattel slavery, obviously. That doesn't make their struggle, their current struggle, and their historical struggle insignificant at all, okay? Does Dave kind of have a point? It seems like LGBTQ have dragged on black rights and haven't brought much to the table to improve black rights. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? There's like, you're making it seem like there's no like gay or LGBTQ black people. Like, that's such a fucking stupid take. That's actually a really stupid. It's actually a really stupid take. Look. Yeah, fuck black people's opinions except the trans ones. Wait, what? If it was a woman, would you? That's garbage, Hasan. Genuinely, if it was a woman, would you feel the same? But they make comparisons like they do against the ATM. Serious, it frustrates me. What? Nah, get the fuck up. That was a bad wrap up. This is exactly the problem. Just be what you were made for and do and shut the fuck up. Is such a bad attitude. I mean, what they're made for is political and cultural analysis. That's what comedians do for the most part. I'm not saying Dave Chappelle should go back to doing fart jokes, okay? I'm saying that your best skill set as a comedian is doing cultural analysis, okay? And that cultural analysis suffers if you are clouded by, one, bigotry, okay? That's why a lot of like these fucking weirdo, shock jock, like insult comics, that don't actually succeed, okay? They're not that good. And I'm not saying stand-up comedy fucking sucks, cancel it all. Shut the fuck up, dumbass, okay? Some people appreciate it. Basically a shut up and dribble take? Okay. I think we're done with the Patton Oswalt side of this. Let's listen to Joe Rogan's take before I fucking literally end it all, okay? Because I'm sorry, I oftentimes, as a consequence of what I do, stare deep into the abyss, okay? And sometimes the abyss stares back. But whenever I bring up this subject, some of the absolute dumbest motherfuckers alive decide to remember that they can both simultaneously manually breathe and also type with one finger at the same time, and decide to come crawling out of the fucking woodwork and just write the dumbest, just straight up the dumbest takes I've ever fucking read in my entire life, okay? Answer real hard questions, not planet comments. Shawarma with or without fryers? I mean fries? Both are good. Anyway, what I was gonna say is this, okay? Dave Chappelle has a good point about James Baldwin, which maybe someone will tell me that I am fucking actually incorrect on. Or maybe when it comes out, there will be fucking pieces analyzing like that take eventually. But his main takeaway from that is that when James Baldwin was a famous American novelist, okay, when he was on television programs or when he was advocating for civil rights, he says he didn't have time to recognize his gay status. Like, he didn't have time to recognize his identity as a gay person because he was too busy being black. Okay? And that goes to some degree against intersectionality. Okay? For sure. And I'm not spoiling the bit. But there is truth to that. He is right about that. Okay? And that shows, no matter if you disagree or agree with what he is saying, And he will do a much better job of describing his point of view. Obviously, I'm just like fucking paraphrasing here. Is that his honest opinion, his honest approach, okay? The thing that brought me over was realizing that we were on the same side. I'm a black dude who saw the LGBT stuff as white people trying to be oppressed. If it wasn't for the stream, I probably would still be very closed-minded. So thanks for talking about this stuff to people like me who know nothing about LGBT. Yeah. Some stories regarding him getting sidelined at the March on Washington due to his sexuality factored in some. Don't know if that was a realization he arrived at later or not. Look. Are you saying he's taking on a very centrist take? No, that's not what I'm saying. Dave Chappelle is not doing like when Dave Chappelle is not doing straight up like I'm a TERF, the point that he's trying to bring out or to talk about has a level of nuance and at least like a lot of honesty. But that gets completely fucking that gets completely missed when he basically adds like 7 layers of just straight transphobia on top of it. Okay? And that's the issue. Dave seems to have identified as white LGBT as a fetish of oppression against POC and is too proud to reassess his take. But it's also a fact that black, gay, and trans people have done a lot for civil and human rights in this country in general. Of course they have. And it's true. Like that's just a historical fact. I don't know how to like wrap this up and talk about what I've talked about before with respect to like where Dave Chappelle is trying to come from as charitable as possible and try to like describe it beyond just saying that he's just a boomer who is like upset that LGBT members are getting like LGBT rights are getting like support in the media in a way that black people never will get. Okay? But that's kind of what he is trying to arrive at, which is that like LGBT as a form of marginalization has, in his eyes, and I do think he's wrong on a lot of what he's saying here, he sees it as cutting the line basically, and that like they were able to get more representation or more protection from the media than black people ever will get, because black people are still historically both oppressed and in contemporary society still oppressed, and also on top of that exploited. Okay, non-fucking stop exploited. Their culture is exploited, their people are exploited, and that same level of care and consideration for black men and black women, but Dave is talking from a point of view of black men, especially, is rarely ever acknowledged. That's why Felix has talked about this before. Biederman, Champagne Sharks talks about this regularly as well. There is a growing movement of black academics and liberal writers that write for publications like The Root that basically couch almost, I would say, like straight up white supremacist agitprop in flowery liberal academic language to say black men, cishet black men, are violent and angry, and it's the exact same thing that you would hear from a racist white supremacist white person, okay? Where there are a group of writers that basically write about black men in the same exact way. They're black writers that write about black men in the same exact way that racist white people would write, but they're doing it from the point of view of like other marginalized identities within the black community. And that is something that I see is very triggering, understandably triggering, because of the solidarity that black people have experienced and have gone through is shaken by people who diminish the marginalization of black men, who don't actually get any positive coverage whatsoever from any fucking facet or any form. They say stuff like black men are the white men of black people as a way to diminish marginalization. Yeah. Shout out Champagne Sharks also. I just did. Okay. This is the most I'm going to enter into black people's business. Okay. There you go. I gave you a little peek. Okay. I opened the door a little bit. We looked in. Are you aware of the divest movement among black rad femmes? This might be too deep in the black people's business also. Exactly. That's it. We peeked in. Okay. We closed the door, and now we're going to move on to what Dave Chappelle is, or what Joe Rogan is going to say about Dave Chappelle and Patton Oswalt. Okay. That's it. It's like when we were looking at the perspective of white people, right? When we were looking at the perspective of white people, like ask a white person or whatever, and that white lady said, like, black men catcall me all the fucking time. You just touched on some of the most toxic debates in black culture. I know. We're not opening that fucking can of worms, okay? We're not doing that. But the comparison I can give you is like when the chatter I was like, I'm a white woman in your chat and you're not hearing me out, that only black people catcall me. Like, that person was using their marginalization to say anti-black shit, okay? And that's still unacceptable. Okay? Let's watch this.
Real fuck up. I mean, listen, again, I love Patton. I love him to death. He's a really, really sweet guy, which is why he did this in the first place. But one of the things that he...
No, I'm not going to read bell hooks on Central Park 5, dude. What the fuck? Are you crazy? Dude, there are long-term community members in here that straight up are like, oh yeah, I hate the stun locks. And then they go, let's just go right into the fucking heart of exactly what the fuck you're talking about. And let's just fucking open up that can of worms. There's worms everywhere now, okay? Let's open that door. They slam it, okay? Slam that door open. Shut up, chatter.
He said is he disagrees, 100% disagree about transgender rights and representation with Dave. That's not true. I think he said that to placate the mob. But Dave does not have any problem whatsoever with transgender rights and representation. It's not right. He's just saying that because they were attacking him, saying that Dave is transphobic. He's not.
Right.
He's not. I mean, I know him very well. He's a...
Bro, he literally said he's a TERF. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, no, he 100% is, dude. I mean, come on. Like, he definitely... I mean, but so is Joe Rogan, so...
fucking fantastic person. He's not... That's not him. He's just making jokes about stuff. And it's like, you can't read all those goddamn comments. Most of the comments are super, super positive. Most of them. But if you have 1,000 people that are commenting on something, you're going to have 10 that are just angry, negative, shitty people, and those are the ones.
My audience, basically. Thank you.
Well, all of
my
our
crowd.
audience. If you're a sensitive person, those are the ones that are going to stand out, and you're going to go, "Oh my God, what have I done?" Yeah. So he started deleting posts, and then apparently there was a bunch of shit posters and TERFs and all kinds of other stuff. TERFs are great.
What?
Great name.
Wait.
You know, and TERFs and all kinds of other stuff.
What?
TERFs are great name.
He said TERF's a great name. What? You have right talking about what black people go through because as a white man, you don't completely understand what it's like to be. Shut up, dude. He said turfs are great, man. He's a good person. He's not transphobic. Joe can't imagine that his friend has dog shit viewpoints. I mean, Joe himself is like not exactly a great ally to trans people either. So, I mean, obviously. People in this chat be like, don't speak on black issues, then go out of their way to speak on trans issues. Yeah, but most of the people in this chat, when they speak on trans issues, they're speaking on it from a position of allyship. So, you know. How is it logical position to tell anyone to get out of black people's business when the business is oppression, which takes two sides? Shouldn't white people be engaged in these discussions to fix the problem? Look, people tell me to see myself out of black people's business or that I'm too comfortable around black people or whatever the fuck all the goddamn time. Obviously, when people say that, at least to me, in most of those circumstances, I don't really listen to that because, you know, no, that is, I'm a political commentator. I talk about that shit all the time. But in a lot of circumstances, when people are saying that, they just mean like, you know, you don't understand it, and now you're speaking in a very ignorant way. Okay? That's the reason why they're saying it. And this notion that like, oh, white men or like white people need to solve this issue is, you know, is kind of like edging on that perspective a little bit, which is that like, seems like you were getting shit for speaking on the black community as a black man. You didn't say anything that bad, and I wish weird stigma on black and conversations would go away. It feels weird. You were fine, Hassan. Oh, thank you. But what the fuck does too comfortable about around black people even mean? Lamau, what a weird argument. Are you okay with having transphobic fans / viewers? Not sure if that's a stupid question. Sorry if it is. Yeah, of course I'm okay with having transphobic fans and viewers. There's hella transphobic people in here that are no longer transphobic. Everybody starts at a point of fucking bigoted opinions and they move beyond it. There are certain takes that are completely unacceptable. If you're a transphobic person and you're here to fucking learn, then yes, of course, dude, this is the place for you. If you're a transphobic person and you're here to just like fucking say transphobic shit and lose your mind, then I'm going to ban you, okay? That is a certainty. But there are hella people in here that probably were way more transphobic when they first came into this community. Maybe even came into this community to fucking troll in a transphobic capacity, okay? It's like the number one reason why I ban people and the number one reason why we fucking unban people, because people are like, dude, I've been banned for 2 fucking years, and that certainly changed my point of view. I was 100% transphobic when I joined the community. Now I'm a big advocate for them. It's just like, it's the normative position. It's like, and this extends to like all manner of bigotry. You can absolutely say that. Leftists love talking about structural analysis and systemic change and recognize how fucking racist and how bigoted and how transphobic and how homophobic American societal development has been. Okay? But then they turn around and act like everyone is individually responsible for their own actions to the degree where they're like, you know, you had to have fucking learned on your own immediately. It's like, no, motherfucker, everyone's going through that journey. And there's, of course, always going to be people that are going through that journey that can't hold themselves back and then just say fucking dumb shit, okay? And when they do, I clap them, okay? And if they still sit here, you know, there's probably a couple thousand people in here right now that are clapped and they're like, oh, he's talking about me right now. Okay, my point of view has changed a lot since when I got banned, you know, a year ago or whatever the fuck. Okay, that's how it works. Look, it's such a normative position that and gender is so profoundly important to our understanding of ourselves that that trans people themselves are oftentimes have a lot of internalized transphobia. Okay, that's where that comes from, because like gender is really important since birth. It's like the most important thing, and it's very rigid. Okay, binary, it's very rigid. You're either a male or a female, and you know you can't see the world other than that. Like I've talked about my own personal transphobia in the you know. I was a bit racist and I started watching Black White, then I changed after watching the whole thing with him. Okay. And the same thing goes for even in more complex ways, goes for understanding the, you know, black issues as well. No, like it's just, you can say that exact same thing for most marginalized identities. The level of how openly fucking bigoted you can be changes obviously drastically. For example, Patton Oswalt can write that fucking take about maintaining a relationship with someone who has openly said really fucked up shit about trans people, right? There's no shot that he would be able to write something like that if there was a Dave Chappelle level of bigotry in the form of fucking comedy about black people. That's not acceptable. However, anti-blackness is so deeply ingrained into the American identity that like a lot of people do anti-black shit without even realizing that they're doing it. Like, you can't be overtly racist against black people. You can't say the N-word to a black person and then survive. Okay. Even though some people have. Kramer. But that doesn't change the reality that there are still an incredible amount of unsolved and unresolved issues that a white supremacist country has no interest in solving with respect to the material conditions that black people are subjected to. Okay? But ultimately, at the top of the hour, the ad break comes for all. Okay? So that gives you a level of equality. Unless you are subscribed. If you want to no longer see those ads, if you want to get out of that system, get out of that struggle of having to see a 60-second ad at the top of every fucking hour, then all you need to do is subscribe. Okay? That's right. And you can subscribe for $5. You can subscribe for free with the Twitch Prime. You can also, get gifted a sub if you're lucky. It's really funny how you science about everything when you talk about different subjects, but completely ignore it when it comes to gender. What? My point of view is never going to change. The truth is the truth. Either you like it or no. Yeah, except, you're not actually taking a scientific approach. Even biologists have a consensus on gender not being binary. Ben Shapiro has moved on from saying gender is binary. He says it's, what does he say? Bipolar? No, not bipolar. He says there's two. He tries to say it's binary without saying it's is it bimodal? You are worse than Ben Shapiro on gender science, okay? Bimodal. Gender is a social construct. It's not related in any meaningful capacity to to biology beyond, the obvious shit that we talk about. But even Ben Shapiro no longer says it's binary. Science is against you, chatter. I'm just letting you know. Like, what you think is male and female, the biological sex, or your gender associated at birth, even that's not fucking binary. Okay? It's just not. It literally is not. I mean, and scientists do not agree with you. You know who agrees with you? Motherfuckers who have a podcast. Okay, that's it. Like ex-biology professors with a podcast that like to go on the Joe Rogan show. That's it. Okay? People who write for, weirdo fucking magazines like Quillette. This TikTok explains it perfectly.
Gender is a fact.
First of all, he's conflating gender with sex. Gender is a social construct. We made it up, like money or around Earth. But even if he said sex is a fact, at around 5 weeks, a fetus forms a cluster of cells that can either turn into weird smooth testicles or weird smooth ovaries. And it's a gene called SRY that activates the former of the two. But that gene isn't a binary on and off function, but rather a sliding scale that can and will sometimes cause a person to be born with neither female or male genitalia.
For the record, there are more intersex people on this planet than there are ginger people, okay? So that people understand. Like, TikTok doctor? He's not a doctor. It's fucking Cody, dude. What are you talking about? This is he's a leftist political commentator. I've had him on my podcast, Fear and Malding.
Doctors will often choose a gender to go with, but we later learned that this choice could result in the child growing up with a different gender identity than what was given to them at birth. Meanwhile, other genes like DMRT1 and FOXL2 will maintain gender characteristics later in life but can stop functioning. On top of this, the brain itself has no binary gender. There's no male brain or female brain. The point I'm making here is that no, gender is not a fact. It's actually quite slippery according to real science. And I'm not gonna get into all the details, nor do I want to get into this too much, because Dave Chappelle, for starters, isn't a conservative. But he is an objectively successful and subjectively extremely hilarious comedian with very incorrect opinions on transgender people. He claims in this special that he has no problem with the trans community, and I'm sure he believes that, even though he won't shut the fuck up about them. I bring all of this up because his Netflix special is currently the subject of both protests and counter-protests. The counter-protesters' view very much being, you just can't take a joke. There's a narrative here that Dave Chappelle makes fun of everyone, so why is it that only trans people get offended? Are they just humorless? See, the problem is that framing this about humor actually deflects from the problem. And to put it into perspective, imagine if a comedian was going around making jokes about how being gay is a choice. It wouldn't matter if the jokes they were making were funny, because the premise they are selling would be fundamentally harmful and wrong.
Wrong. This is why comedy is even that take itself is wrong. Why? Because gay people make homophobic jokes all the fucking time. Context is what matters. Your level of involvement with the community that you speak of matters. Where you're coming from matters. So even then, it's like, yeah, it is entirely dependent on so many different factors. And the only reason why Dave Chappelle can make actually a funny trans joke like Beyond Pussy or Impossible Meat Pussy, and then not get, not able to fucking keep that energy with like all the other anti-trans quote unquote jokes that he fucking couched it in between, is because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't have the same level of involvement. He doesn't care. He sees it as like weird and gross. Okay. I'm sorry. That's just a fact. It is. He just straight up thinks trans people are fucking weird and he thinks they're gross. I've heard him literally say this. Okay. Like his mouth to my ears. I've heard him say it in his new bits. Okay. So you agree with him? No, I do not agree with Dave Chappelle on that fucking subject matter. What the fuck are you talking about? I think Cody knows a bit more about comedy than you do. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Ultimately, I think that like you can make even jokes that revolve around trans people. I've said this a million times over as well. But unfortunately, if your joke is lol, trans people are fucking weird and gross, am I right? Attack helicopter, omega lol, then they're not funny. This is like hacky as fuck. And the only people who think that's funny are fucking idiots, okay? The only people that would consider that to be funny are people who are like also in agreement. You're not laughing, okay? You're not laughing at like a good joke. You're just agreeing with the person that's telling you something, and you're thinking about how that joke is hurting other people that you also don't like because you agree with the person making that joke. And on that note, that is precisely why I say all of you motherfuckers that absolutely fucking lap up mid-ass, fucking cringy-ass, hacky-ass comedy are no different than the millions of people that wrote fucking think pieces about how Nanette was brilliant, okay? And people in this community get very mad at me, and they say, how dare you make fun of Hannah Gadsby? How dare you make fun of Nanette all the time? Nanette is not a comedy special. Nanette is a TED Talk, okay? That's it. And Dave Chappelle is doing the TED Talk Nanette version for reactionaries, at least on the point of trans people, okay? That's it. For people who don't know what Nanette is, don't worry about it, okay? Don't even seek it out. Straight up. It's just like, if you like comedy, it's just, I mean, go watch it. I wonder if you'll like it. Biggest problem was he wasn't even telling jokes half the time. He was just doing commentary. Yeah, so was fucking Hannah Gadsby. Okay, that's it.
Chappelle claims he has no problem with trans people, but is saying things that are factually wrong and designed to discredit them. It's propaganda, no different than Gutfeld saying that Democrats want crime to happen.
Remember when the dummy said, I think Cody knows a little bit more about comedy than you? Like, oh, wait, look at that. He made the exact same fucking joke that I've made a million times over. That's crazy.
The only contrast being that Dave Chappelle is actually funny. So it's not that trans people can't take a joke, and in fact, there are tons of examples of trans comedians in stuff like roast battles clearly taking jokes. It's that these specific jokes are framed as hard truths that are actually based on weird lies used to justify marginalizing an already marginalized and vulnerable group of people. Lies that have been repeated as jokes over and over again by conservatives. To quote this Parker Malloy article, I'm not asking comedians to stop telling trans jokes. I'm asking them to stop telling the same trans jokes over and over.
Gender is.
James the Caster has a good bit about comedians trying to make it light of trans people. No, I don't. We've seen that. That was whatever. It's so good. So fucking good, dude. It's me!